What's up? What's up? What is up? And welcome to the Dr. Ali Griffith Show, Mindset, Meditation, and Motivation. You are in for a special treat today, guys. I think I say that every single time, but one of my guests are special treats. We have the dynamite Miss Annette Morris, the original goal-getter,
yes,
CEO and founder. She's going to be talking to us a little bit today. But you know what, guys? I need you to stay tuned and check this out. All right, so we are back, and if you don't know by now, this edition is all about the Launch Your Own Brand edition. So I'm bringing in some power movers, some heavy hitters out in the game who are amazing CEOs, 6 and 7 and 8 figure CEOs that are going to share with us some of the strategies and some of the things that they've done to get to where they are. Most are moms, so our guest today is a mom, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about how she navigates this. And you guys all know by now I'm Dr. Ali. If you have not listened or heard me, where you been? So,
what do you mean?
So that means you came at the right time. And I'm that off the chain chick. I'm here to basically help moms out there to get past themselves, to get past the doubt, get past the starting and the stopping, and actually create true legacy for their kids. For themselves and then for their kids, right? It's not only for their kids, but for themselves. Have their children see what it is that we do so that they start the process of starting entrepreneurship early. And we go through all those circles and the long way of doing this so that we can learn systems and strategies and help them to make it easier. So I have a lot of moms out there that are questioning themselves and saying, do I really have what it takes? Maybe I'm just made to be a mom. Maybe I'm just made to be a professional. And if you're here, that means you know that there's more. If you're listening, you know that there's more. You know you have that little gut feeling. You know so many times you told a girlfriend, oh, I have this idea. And they always came to you like, well, when are you going to do it? And you're like, child, maybe next year. So this is for you who've been maybe next yearing for a while. Or who've probably started and had to stop because something else in life happened. That something happened with the kids, something happened with life. You know, things just happen, and the dreams that we once had, we put them to the side. So the reason for the Launch Your Own Brand edition is so that we can get you back into the flow of things, and we can bring guests on that can share some things that can cut short some of the time. So Miss Annette Morris, welcome to the Dr. Ali Griffith Show, and you're going to do the introduction. Give us that snap. Give us that little thing about who are you, how you show up in the world. What you got?
Hey, everybody, and thank you, Dr. Ali. As she told you all, I am Annette Morris. I am the owner and CEO of Go Getter LLC. It is the vision and goal of Go Getter LLC to help women to identify their God-given gift, and we teach women how to convert that gift into a 5 to 7 figure income generating business. So I show up in just that rare form, being a woman, being a mom, being a wife that has converted my passion and my gift from God into a 6-figure business.
Ooh, thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
All right. So when you started at the beginning, right? When did you start? Were you in your 20s, 30s? When did you decide that you actually are going to go after this business thing?
So I was in my 30s. In my 30s, I was a professional, so I have a master's degree in therapy. So I was at the time when I left full-time employment for full-time entrepreneurship, I was actually supervising a social service agency because of my background. At that time, really homeless people trying to make sure they get housed, maintaining mental health services, all those type things. And then I just kind of heard the voice of God was like, it's just time for you to transition out of working for people into full-time entrepreneurship. And that has been a whirlwind journey, many blessings, many lessons. So that has definitely been a journey. This June will be 10 years that I've been a full-time entrepreneur, but I've been doing entrepreneurship for 12 years. So I was already into it 3 years before God was like, yep, it's full-time now.
Ooh, she said many blessings.
Yes.
So y'all know it's not easy.
It's
when you
not.
make that decision to jump out, it gets so scary. What was one of the most fearful things you had, or the messages that you had going on in your head that stopped you from actually starting when you probably wanted to start earlier?
So I didn't want to start when I actually started. So let me just say, because I'm a mom, my greatest fear was failing and seeing my children come down with me, right? Because in your mind, like, you'd be like, if I do this, I'm probably gonna fail. If I do this, I'm gonna be homeless. We always have the what ifs, but the what ifs are always like with a negative ending. Like, we don't go back with like, what if I become a millionaire? What if I accelerate? What if I exceed? None of the what ifs ever sound like that. So I had that same song and dance in my head. What if I fail? Then my children are going to go down that spiral with me. Then we all going to be homeless. It's going to be my fault. You know, those type of things or whatever. Those are my greatest fears. Oh, I'm going to have days where I ain't going to have no money. I need to be able to feed my children, you know, all this other stuff. And I did delay for like 2 months, actually, because God spoke to me that, almost 2 months. God spoke to me like that May and was like, it's time for full-time entrepreneurship. But he was telling me to go into my business that wasn't generating money like that. It didn't make any sense. I had 2 children. I was a single mother. Both of my children were in private schools, all this. And I had the mortgage and the car note and all this. And I didn't have any money in savings. So none of that made sense to me. So I wanted to dismiss it, but he just wouldn't leave me alone with it, right? So initially I was prayerful and hoping that he was giving me that message to give to somebody else. I'm like, Lord, as soon as you tell me who that message meant for, I promise I'm going to tell him. And God was like, no, that message was meant for you. That I didn't give you that to give to anybody else. I want you to leave full-time employment for full-time entrepreneurship. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going to work a few more weeks. I'm going to accumulate 3 more paychecks. I'm going to put them on the side and save them. And girl, that process did not go anything like I had rehearsed it in my head. The paychecks went out the window. I had to replace tires. It was all kind of stuff, right? So by the time I actually walked off the job, I had nothing in savings. I had nothing in savings, barely anything in checking, didn't have a rich uncle anywhere, none of that, right? All I had was faith and a promise from God. That was it. And from there, I just started, getting into what he told me to get into. I prayed. I was like, Lord, if you just make sure my children don't see a hungry day, I'll be okay. I can do your will. And he just gave me this comfort. It was like, your children was my children before they were your children, right? So I have them taken care of. I just need you to do what I need you to do. And so I was able to go on and do the work in my business. At the time, I was servicing youth and I had a nonprofit. So I was working with youth and women. But I realized at a certain point, I wasn't really passionate about working with little children. My passion is teenagers and women. And so we just kind of moved all of that into go get an LLC, which is what we have now, and dissolve the nonprofit. But then the nonprofit, because the nonprofit actually was not structured for us to work with women. It was only structured for us to work with children from 5 to 18. So in order for us to be able to work with women and not violate the mission of the nonprofit, I had to dissolve that and then move everything for teenagers and women over to my existing for-profit business now. Then, so again, and we grew that particular nonprofit up to almost $500,000 in generated revenue. Yeah, so we added generated income services, grant funding, donations, because there's so many streams of revenue that you can access with a nonprofit organization. So it was good, but it wasn't that when I first stepped out on faith. It wasn't generating anything like that. Most of the things that we did in the community, giveaways, all of that, it was based on people making donations, and the money was coming out of my own pocket from money that I was making from being employed. You know what I mean? So I was just like, this just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because I know there's somebody out there that needed to hear that. For anyone out there who wanted to start, who wants or have started a nonprofit, and when they started, they didn't see all of the stuff and they didn't see all of the results coming back in immediately.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I'm gonna have to pause this for a second. I was in the process of talking about the whole nonprofit, and I know we do have some people out there that are listening that want to start a nonprofit or want to start it but trying to figure out where the money came from. So you were dropping some nuggets. I just wanted to just process that for a second. Like, you were doing really well with your nonprofit. What made you decide to really stop? I mean, bringing in almost $500,000 in terms of all the access that you have. And guys, if you're interested in learning more about it, she definitely still has more information about that, and we'll place information in our show notes.
The nonprofit, like I said, I came to the realization that I wasn't truly passionate about working with little children. My true passion was teenagers and women. So I started the nonprofit like years before that. As a therapist, my target population was youth and adolescents. And then, so I'm new to the therapy field. I just want to work with youth. I don't want to work with adults, XYZ. But the more I worked with like little youth and teenagers, I'm like, I really like working with teenagers. And so we started hosting like teen entrepreneurship camps throughout the summers. And I was like, I love these teenagers. And people were like, how do you work with teenagers? I'm like, how do you work with little children? So I don't want to do that.
Give me the babies any day.
Exactly. So I was just like, And then again, like I said, because our mission was youth focused, we couldn't work with women either, right? And then so I had a separate business working with women, LLC over here, and then the teenagers and the youth over here. And I was like, I don't want to be all over the place anymore. I don't want to be between two businesses. I want to do one business, and the business has to be passion focused for me, right? I need to love what I'm doing and only do the very things that I love to do. So I love teenagers. I love women. I'm going to pull it all under this LLC, and we'll just dissolve the nonprofit organization. So ultimately, again, it was generating great revenue, but sometimes you have to do, I personally feel like when you do what you love to do, the revenue is going to follow it anyway.
That's the message
so,
out there.
Yeah.
Do what you love. That's tweetable. When you do what you love to do, the profit comes in.
Yeah.
Really, and what I love that you spoke about is the pivot, right? So sometimes there's someone out there, because this was me trying to decide, should I do the nonprofit? Should I do the for-profit? My heart tells me to do the nonprofit, but I know I want to bring in money, and I know there's other things. And when you don't know the difference between the two, you get stuck, and a confused mind makes no decision. I love how Annette mentioned how she started with the nonprofit because that's where she was led, and leading and pivoting into her for-profit that process, and just being obedient to listening to where her passion lays. And I'm you guys are hearing all the nuggets, because I'm just
absolutely
read it so you can hear it.
Absolutely. But I do want to drop a nugget just for anybody that's considering doing a nonprofit organization. Nonprofit does not mean no profit. So I have nonprofit clients, because I've been doing nonprofit coaching for the full 12 years as well. Nonprofit clients that are generating millions of dollars annually, right? You just have to make sure you diversify your funding. So just like an LLC where you would have various streams of revenue, in your nonprofit, you need to have various streams of revenue as well. So as you heard earlier, I got to almost $500,000 annually by having generated income, grant funding, donations. We didn't just get there by having one stream of revenue. We had like 4 streams of revenue in the nonprofit.
So now you use that knowledge, right? Because sometimes that's how God does it, right? He'll put us on stage, and we'll learn all these things, all these systems and structure. Like if you want to have a scalable business, you can't rely on one source of income.
Absolutely, at all.
Everything now at that time to that LLC. What did you take with you from this into where you are now, being so successful?
So I took that mindset, like it has to have multiple streams of revenue. What is it that I absolutely love to do? And these are the things that I'm going to do in this particular business. So in our business now, like I said, we help, we were hosting teen camps until last year when COVID hit, right? We didn't do any teen camps last year. So this year, depending on what COVID looks like by the summer, we'll probably do another teen camp. So we've been doing teen camps, teen entrepreneurship camps for the last 9 years, excluding last year. So we teach teenagers entrepreneurship, how to convert what they love to do into a income generating business, that type of thing. We do that for women year round, right? So teaching women how to identify their God-given gift, because I'm a person that focuses on the gift. Why? Because the Bible has a promise attached to the gift. It's not attached to your talents, is attached to your gift, right? The gift is the thing. A talent is something that you learn how to do. So baking cakes, could be a talent, whatever it is, people make great money from it. Your gift is the thing that you were born and created to do. It's the only thing that God is going to honor, because he says your gift will make room for you, not your talent, right? So I help people to identify that thing, whatever that thing is, because that's the thing that's going to make room for you. So once we identify that, then I sit down with you and help you to identify the ways to make money from that very thing, right? And God has just gifted me with the ability to be able to look at it and see, okay, you can do this, you can do that, you can do, that type of thing, right? And this is how much this stream can generate, and this stream can generate this, and, all those type of things or whatever. So I, strategize with women to help them to do just that. So we do it with developing nonprofits and for-profits. We have coaching services, all those type of things.
I love it. First of all, I love alignment, because I didn't know all about this, which is a major reason why I love my podcasting, because it's actually my time when I actually get to talk to people and learn more about them.
Yes.
Annette and I are in a CEO mastermind together for Trailblazers. And I asked if she can come and do mine, and we can do hers. And, we could just do the things that CEO sisters should be doing and supporting.
Absolutely.
So it's so dope to hear that a lot of things that you do are so in alignment with what I do. And also you have a lot of strengths that I need. So I do have a nonprofit organization. My mom does run it for me right now. We did. It's for families with kids with autism to learn more about wellness, fitness, and nutrition. However, since I started and I pivoted because God told me to pivot into my personal brand, I still didn't do as much as I need to do in terms of fundraising and helping them out. I did bring people in, but we're definitely going to talk because we definitely need to learn some things on how to take that nonprofit to the next level. And also loving the fact that the teenager program, the entrepreneurship program, definitely something that I'm interested in because Zachary's now a teenager and figuring out, how can we help him with that aspect. And that's why I started helping moms because they started asking, I'm doing it and I want to do it for my kid. How do I start them early? But I was I'm like doing all of them. Like I didn't even stop a teenager because, I've been working in early intervention with 0 to 3 and then in the educational system from 3 to 21 for the last 20 years. So I've always loved the whole gamut of the whole family and the whole gist of it. So people ask me the 2 grades I would love either the babies or the high schoolers. Do not give me that middle ground, right? So those mini men babies in men bodies or babies in women bodies. And you deal with all the 2. Shoot, I'm ready to ship out Zachary and say bring him back when he's in a sophomore and junior in high school. This part is rough. I ain't even gonna find this part. Like I'm even trying to do this interview now, and in the midst of it, after I said, "Are you okay? You good? I can go for about 45 minutes to do this interview." Yes, I'm good, Mom. I got this. In the middle of the interview, excuse me, Mom. I'm like, see, this in between stage is rough.
Yes.
However, so Annette does all of this and she has the ability to inform you on this. And like I said, information about her is going to be in the show notes. You're going to have access to her website and how you can work with her. But this quick question I'm going to ask you is now you're doing a dope pivot for 2021. So I'm going to give you that access to let folks know where is God leading you to. And I want y'all to hear this, right? Because sometimes we don't move because we think that we need to know everything. We don't know everything. When I got into this game, I was doing first business coaching. Then God took me back to helping autism moms. Now he's taking me back to pivoting into business coaching again and for moms with kids with special needs and without. So if you don't know and because you don't know everything, it doesn't mean you can't start. Because even when you start, learn what you're supposed to learn at that time. And he will guide you to your next. So you're being guided to your next. Tell us what is your next of 2021?
The funny thing is, it's not my next because it's actually where I started at doing consulting and coaching work. This is how the coaching and consulting business initially started, right? But we can be so... I don't know, like with ourselves, like with the self-defeating behaviors and the sabotage mentally or whatever, trying to overcome that, we don't even realize it's something that God was preparing us for all along, right? So like you like, we don't have to be perfect, this is that or whatever. God is having me to coach parents with disabilities, but I'm not equipped. But you've been working with a child with special needs for 10, 12, 13 years. How much more experience do you need? How much more knowledge do you need to be able to help other parents that are the same way, right? Message. Message. You got 12 years on the job experience.
So 24 hours on the job.
Yes, exactly. Like round the clock. So you're very experienced, very knowledgeable. So with me, that's literally how the consulting business and my coaching business started, right? Because I was a therapist, but then I got to be a program manager, right? So I knew how to provide therapeutic services. I knew how to run an agency, right? And then so I got a call from there was some people that were, because the agency that I was running, the owners were out of town. Him and his executive team, they didn't live in New Orleans. They lived in North Carolina. And so one of the ladies from the executive team, she was just like, you are so smart. You know everything about it. You know that whole region. Can you help one of our other clients to open an agency there, right? And I was like, sure. So help them. It was really good money. Help them to get open. And then next thing you know, I got a call from somebody else. And then I just, made some flyers and started sending it out to different behavioral health agencies, just making sure they were in compliance to maintain their accreditation. Then I started getting other calls from people who was like, I want to open my own agency. And then it just kind of took off from there. So that's what made me actually start my consulting business, helping therapists to branch off and not just have like a private practice, but to actually open a whole agency, right? And so those agencies now, again, I'm making like 7 figures in those agencies. So fast forward to now, I'm launching the CEO therapist program where I'll be helping therapists to do the exact same thing that I've been helping therapists to do for the last 10 years. But I'm doubting myself, like, I don't know. And then again, like I said on a call yesterday, I'm driving yesterday and my mind was like, but you've been doing this for 10 years. Like, what is the hang up right now? Because you literally have a track record. Like, you've been doing this for years, just not under the umbrella of being the CEO therapist, but you've been doing this for years. You have documented proof. You have clinicians that you've helped them to not have just not going to private practice, having clients on clients on clients, but having a whole agency where they're generating 6 and 7 figure revenue into their agency. So what is the problem? So yeah, I had to have that hard on talk with myself on yesterday, but that is who I am now, the CEO therapist. So I'm helping other therapists to identify ways to further diversify their business so they're not just doing private practice and they're limited to the amount of clients that they can see, because most therapists end up experiencing burnout as a result of working intensely the way that they do. And they do it because we as therapists do not make a lot of money, right? In what we do. We love helping people. We want to do it. We just don't make a lot of money. So what happens is they'll get several jobs. And, I have one client right now, we're transitioning her. She has 5 jobs. She's a licensed social worker, 5 jobs, and she still only makes $80,000 a year. So, wow. Yeah, so that's what we are helping other therapists to not do the same thing, to get out of the therapist rabbit hole and to have, full on agencies. So that's what we're doing this year. That's that's one of our signature programs this year.
Love it, love it, love it. Mm-hmm. Y'all know that Mama Ismay, which is my mom, and I speak about her a lot. She's a social worker. So I remember when she was telling me at a younger age, because I said, Mom, I want to do what you do, because I saw how she was passionate and giving out to so many. She was like, you work too hard and you don't get paid enough.
Oh, that's the truth.
Asking her, well, why don't you open up your own? So now we have these conversations, and she now has her book. She now has her LLC, and she's 70. So she's now saying, okay, now I'm ready to do a little bit of my own.
More,
watching the ladies that are in our tribe. And the whole gist is that there are a lot of therapists out there who need you. You're listening to this right now, watching this right now, and whether you're the therapist or someone's a therapist, and they've been pretty much complaining about the fact that they're doing all this work and not getting recognized or not being appreciated for it, then you definitely want to check into this program. So I everything is aligned. This conversation was not planned, but I did want it to be for whoever needed to hear it. So if you're here, that means you're either listening or watching, because it's either for you or someone you know. So do me a favor and pick up the phone now, make that call, send a text. The link will be below, and let them know, sis, bro, I got someone for you who will help you your next steps in many different ways, because she definitely dropped different ways of how she can help you. All right, so I'm going to leave us with this amazing thing. So we had an amazing, delicious conversation, and you guys definitely got some message. One of the messages I really received was, what if I fail? What if I fail? When you said that, that gave me chills through my body, because it reminds me of when I'm making this move now from parallelpreneur to full entrepreneur. And that was one of the major things. What if I fail? What if I fail? Well, failing forward, and we're gonna be failing through the process of God, and God left us, and He ain't gonna leave you now.
Absolutely
so
not.
Congratulate you and celebrate you for being bold and stepping boldly, and the amazing results, and the countless of people who you're helping.
Thank you.
The last thing we're gonna leave everyone, I always ask my audience, my guests, this question is: you were sent here for a reason. Our call was divinely designed for a reason. What do you think to that listener that they need to hear from you right now? Leave them with something that you just know that was placed for whoever God is giving you a message for right now.
So, like you said, Dr. Ali, we all have a purpose, right? Our purpose is always much bigger than us. So a lot of times we are afraid to step into it because we're ashamed of it, right? We're ashamed of the story. We're ashamed of the experience, when in all actuality, God is not attempting to be punitive to us. He felt like we were strong enough to endure whatever the test and whatever the trial was, right? But it is now our responsibility to be transparent enough to share it with another sister, right? We're playing it forward, because now we have to tell that sister how to make it over. whatever, how to make it through, whatever the trial is, whatever it is that we went through, it was not for you. It's not for you to harbor it. It's not for you to hold on to it. It's your responsibility to reach back and help another sister and pull them forward, because God brought you through it so you can turn around and pull somebody else forward to bring them through it. So don't be afraid to share whatever your experiences have been in life. Don't convince yourself, hey, I'm secretive, I don't like people in my business. It's not your business. It's for God. It just, you were the vessel that God used to bring that testimony through, but literally it's not your story. I mean, it's your story, but it's for his glory. So it just was your experience.
Where can they find you if they need to get
They can find me on Facebook. I'm Annette J Morris, MA, on Facebook and on Instagram. My business information, I am goal_getter_university on Instagram and Goal Getter LLC on Facebook.
Awesome. Do you have any gifts for them if they go anywhere? Will they get a cool gift?
Inbox me on Instagram. I do have some digital downloads that I can that are freebies. Especially one of the things that I'm really pushing right now is for people to create consistency in their business and in their lives as mompreneurs, because you know we get a lot busy and we start taking care of everybody, the husband, the kids, the business, the clients, and we forget to take care of us. So that is the freebie that I do have for you all. That's the one I want to give you all, so that you can create a consistent routine for your life that incorporates wellness, right? Self-care and wellness.
Awesome. So thanks a lot for coming by to the Dr. Allie Griffith Show.
Thank you.
You were incredible as always, as we knew it was going to be. Guys, you have some amazing gifts, so definitely follow, do all the stuff that you do. Make sure you're following us. Make sure if this was juicy that you check out the next podcast. And just keep going, or go back up to one you may have missed, and stay with us. And definitely let another person follow, listen, go, refer. Don't keep this information for yourself. Pass it along. Absolutely. As always, I want to remind you to continue being amazing in your thoughts, your words, and in your action. Until next time, y'all. Peace.
Peace.